Hello everyone, this is Kyle from Poseidon's Pets. So today what I got for you is a information download. So I am going to give you all the information I have on shrimp and how I am a successful shrimp breeder. Before we get started, go ahead, hit that like button. I want to see if we can get to 50 likes on this video. So if you haven't already, hit the like. And if you're new to my channel and you like this video, hit the subscribe. So that way you can see any future shrimp content and other videos that I do. So hit the like, leave me a comment down below what you think of these shrimp and then what you do to breed shrimp successfully. So I have been breeding shrimp for over a year now. I started out with Neocaridina and have moved on to Caridina. So one thing that I will stress as the most important thing is water parameters. So setting up a shrimp tank, you want to make sure that you set up the shrimp tank according to the shrimp that you are keeping. So if you're keeping Neocaridina shrimp, you want to make sure that the water parameters are set to the Neocaridina shrimp parameters. If you're keeping Caridina shrimp, you want to make sure that you have that buffering substrate that's going to lower the pH down, as well as that you have the water set to those parameters for Caridina shrimp. So Caridina shrimp do require a little bit more specific water parameters than Neos do. You want to make sure you are using reverse osmosis water with GH plus remineralizer, and you want to get a pH of about 5 to 6. So to do that, you want to have a pH buffering substrate. There's a lot of them out there, and I have a video on setting up a Caridina tank. So if you want to know more about that, look at the card above. The next thing that is most important as well is don't overfeed your shrimp. So they are small creatures. They will kind of graze throughout the tank and eat basically the little stuff and bits that are in your tank. So I feed these guys every other day. And on the alternate feeding, I feed a powdered food. So I'll do a pellet, I'll wait a day, do a powdered food, wait a day, do a pellet, wait a day, do a powdered food. So that way they're getting a balanced diet and you're not overfeeding, because those powder foods help to build biofilm in the tank, which is good for shrimplets as well as adult shrimp. Now that we've covered feeding, you also want to make sure that you have an adequate amount of biofilm in your tank. So to achieve biofilm, well, what is biofilm? Biofilm is microscopic flora and fauna that grow on surfaces. So alder cones, plants, the glass, the substrate, biofilm will grow on any of these surfaces. Now to promote biofilm, you can do a few things. There's a few different powder foods out there that you can feed that will help the growth of biofilm. Bacter AE is one of those products. Bacter AE will help with the growth of biofilm, so adding that to your tank regularly will help, but be careful with powder foods. You can overfeed with them as well. The other way to add biofilm is botanicals. So your Indian almond leaves, your alder cones, any type of driftwood, Malaysian driftwood. I like to use cholla wood. So cholla wood is a type of cactus. Once it dries out, it's very porous, has a lot of nooks and crannies for microflora and fauna to grow and thrive in. Newer cholla wood is going to grow more biofilm than older cholla wood, so it's good to swap those out after a while. But cholla wood is definitely my favorite for shrimp tanks. The next one is Mopani, either Mopani or Malaysian driftwood. Those are good as well. On top of driftwood, hardscape is a good place for biofilm and algae to grow. So rocks, hardscape like dragonstone, as well as some of those other larger river rock pieces will help to grow that biofilm. So with hardscape, you want to watch out though, because some hardscape can leak calcium into the water, and that can affect your KH, which will affect your pH. So in a Caridina tank, you want to be careful what rocks you choose. There's different ways to test the pH of a rock before you add it to the tank. There's the vinegar test and some other pH tests that you can do. A quick YouTube search will give you answers on, is this rock safe for a Caridina tank? So definitely make sure that the hardscape you're choosing works well for whatever type of shrimp you're keeping. Now, a big question that I see often is, why did my shrimp die? So shrimp can be very temperamental. They do not like fluctuations in water parameters. So when you are first purchasing your shrimp, you want to make sure that you are purchasing shrimp from a reputable breeder, possibly somebody in your area that has the same type of water as you. So that way transitioning the shrimp to your tank isn't going to be as big of a drastic change as say ordering shrimp from somebody who lives across the country. Now, when you first get your shrimp, it is imperative that you drip acclimate your shrimp. So what you want to do is put your shrimp in a separate container, put the shrimp in the water that they came in. So whether they came in a bag, well, I hope they came in a bag, but whatever container they came in, that water you want to put into another container so that way you can drip acclimate these shrimp. To do that, you're going to run like an airline tube from the tank you're adding the shrimp to and drip slowly the water over a period of time. I usually drip acclimate my new shrimp for about 2 to 4 hours. And there's tons of YouTube videos out there on drip acclimation and why it's important to do so. But the first step when getting new shrimp, drip acclimate them into the new tank. That's going to help with any of that shock and that transition into the new tank. Now that you got your shrimp into their new tank, you want to make sure that you don't shock them with a water change. So water changes are very important to keep your shrimp happy, to give them new water so that way they can continue to thrive and grow. So the best way to do water changes that I found is about 10% every 2 weeks. As long as you're not overfeeding, this is going to be plenty, or this is going to be adequate for your water changes. So what I do is I just take 10% out of the tank, and then I slowly drip the new water back into the tank, and I make sure that the water parameters of my new water as well as the water parameters of the tank are the same. So that way there's not a big fluctuation, there's not a jump in those water parameters. The other thing that you'll want to do is when you remineralize this water, you want to make sure you're gassing out any chlorine or anything else that's in the water. So to do this, take your RO water that you're going to use for your water change, add an air stone to it, let it mature for 2 or 3 days, so that way the pH can stabilize when you're aerating it, as well as any chlorine that's in there can be gassed out. Now I like to add my mineralizer to this water while it ages, because what that does is that makes sure that pH is stable. When you oxygenate water, that affects the pH. Oxygen content in the water can affect the way the pH is, so by adding that air stone, you're going to ensure that the pH of the water is the same as the pH in your tank. Now that you know the basics, don't overfeed, make sure you drip acclimate your shrimp when you first get them, make sure you do water changes slowly and not a drastic change like this. Now that you got those basics, you may think, hey, I want some fish in my tank. I want some fish to go with my shrimp. That is absolutely your choice. If you are breeding shrimp for profit, just know that fish will eat shrimplets. If there's fish in the tank, they're gonna eat your shrimplets, so keep that in mind when you're adding any type of fish to your shrimp tank. Now, there are some so-called shrimp safe fish out there that people like to advertise like, hey, these are safe for shrimp tanks. Just know that no fish is shrimp safe. All fish will eat baby shrimp, and if they can, they will. So keep that in mind when adding fish to your tank. If you would like to breed shrimp for profit, you want to maximize the amount of live babies in there. So adding fish to the tank, they're just going to eat your babies, and you don't want that. Now, the most important things that I would say adding to your shrimp tank are floating plants. Floating plants are going to remove nitrates and help clean your water, as well as live plants. Live plants are going to help promote biofilm, and as they rot and decay, your shrimp will have something to eat. So floating plants, live plants, as well as any type of driftwood, some type of botanicals, whether that's Indian almond leaves, alder cones. There's all kinds of botanicals out there that's going to help add that black water. Now, I also add supplements to my shrimp tanks. Brightwell Aquatics has an amazing line of shrimp products. So there's a few products that I like to add regularly. I like to add Brightwell Aquatics Black Water, their Florin Bacter, as well as their Florin Multi, which is just a plant fertilizer. So if you follow these tips, you are gonna have tons of babies. You are gonna be a master shrimp breeder before you know it. So like I said, I've only been doing this about a year, but I have learned so much in that year. So if you have any questions, any comments, leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you thought about this video. And if there's anything you feel that I missed, or if there's anything you would like to see me touch on more, just let me know. So if you have an idea of something that you want me to cover in a video, leave me a comment down below and let me know what that is. So don't forget to hit that like button. Let's hit that 50. And if you want to, go ahead and become a member of my channel. I definitely appreciate it. That's gonna help support me and give me the ability to buy more shrimp. So Thank you guys so much for watching. I definitely appreciate all of you. And as always, if you love me, you love my shrimp, you love my videos, hit that subscribe button. Shout out to all my members right now. You guys are awesome. Active members as of today, we've got Robert Redman, we have Jamie Anderson, as well as Tater Salad, my lovely wife Amber, and the big shrimp daddy Mark from Mark Shrimp Tanks. So thank you guys so much for being members and being a part of my community, as well as helping out with the hobby. Everything you guys do out there, definitely appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely appreciate it, and enjoy the rest of your day. We'll catch you next time. Bye.